on that, I guess. Mr. Bertram,
He's got his thumb up, so
there.
he's here, but we'll get the communication.
Okay.
Bertram here.
okay, Commissioner Notch,
Here.
the President's up for the nation.
Okay, thank you. So please join us for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. We have the agenda in front of us with one addition to the consent agenda. And Mike, you can talk about that.
Values on the consent agenda. There's questions about that. I'm sure Mr. Trifles can answer those. And then I was asked to switch the order of the items under administration, F1 and F2, if the board is okay with that.
Okay. So we've got the consent agenda items in front of us, and then the change of F2 to F1. Any discussion on those? Otherwise, a motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Notch moves the consent agenda and the agenda change. Commissioner Clark seconds it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The consent agenda is approved. And the agenda. So let's go to F2. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's two items under administration this morning, and the first one is F2. We've discussed the work arrangements policy. I think this is the fourth time that we will be discussing it here at the board meeting. As a result of the previous discussions, I did propose a number of changes to the policy, and the changes to that policy, I think, lean towards having people engage more on site and more face-to-face with one another. It removes the remote. We have 3 profiles there. It removes the totally remote, so we would have no one that we would allow to work totally remotely. And then you can see we struck the core collaboration hours. I felt that didn't really make sense today. And then you can see that we've added some expectations that employees will be on site with regularity to provide services, collaboration, and maximize service delivery. We've added that management will schedule regular employee in-person one-on-one meetings and team meetings. And we've added that leaders are expected to manage their schedule to meet the needs of their departments and maintain a visible professional appearance. And that's just a few of the changes that I wanted to highlight in the proposed policy. I'm sure there may be questions or further discussion or some ideas of how we move forward on this policy. And I know that Commissioner Persky is, of course, interested in this, and I don't know if we can even hear him now.
Can we hear you, Joel?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good, then we got it.
Okay. Thanks, Mike, for that. I didn't have a chance to talk to anybody about this, but I did share it with Mike and Jill. I've read this 3 times, and the thought occurred to me this morning. Sometimes you can think better in the morning, at least I can. Rather than us discussing this for 30 minutes this morning and Joe being in Washington, an idea came to me that could we create a subcommittee of like Steve and Joel, Mike and Jill, to dive into this. We saw this on Wednesday, which is good. And, this certainly is heading in the right direction. But for me personally, it's not quite where I'd like to see it. But do we talk about it for 30 minutes this morning and make the sausage here, or do we allow, we've never really had one-on-one conversations with this. So I guess long story short, rather than diving into a 30-minute plus conversation, would you guys be open to doing that for the next meeting? To narrow it down a little bit, so thoughts?
Mr.
Mike?
Chair, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate that thought, especially if board members aren't ready to take any action here. I feel like I have to say about the last thing I want to do is continue this discussion because it's been going on so long. And we've been spending a lot of time on it, but I understand if we're not ready that we could. My suggestion, if we were going to postpone action on this, was going to be that we do it during, make it a topic during the retreat. Now, I realize that that's all the way out into January and February. If we wanted to do it with some kind of a subcommittee, I highly doubt we would be able to bring anything back to the board at the next meeting, but certainly in the next couple of meetings.
Members?
Mr. Chair, I guess I would hesitate to put it out to our retreat, because then would be just delaying it to the retreat and then coming up with an idea about, again, as you say, making the sausage at the retreat or putting a subcommittee at that time together. My concern, is, first of all, is that I think, right, it's become more defined as far as where we're headed with the policy and practice. However, some of the vagueness of the language as well, you know, saying regular meetings or may, and not being specific as far as putting parameters on what is actually going to take place. I guess that's where I see it not being well defined. Talking last night with a few commissioners from you know, other states, you know, some of those folks obviously did work from home during COVID, but when it came to being back to regular positions in the office by 2023, they were pretty much all back into the office as they were prior to COVID. So, yeah, I would have no trouble if we would do the subcommittee and see if we can tweak it and then try to move it forward.
If we can get Joe's volume turned up somehow, would be helpful. I can hear him, but it's faint, but, Commissioner Notch?
I guess, Mr. Chair, my main concerns, you know, which I've expressed before, is that we always have, human resource coverage and administrative coverage, and the only other thing I'd like to see is just to make sure we can mirror some of the services at West here, so if people come here, they're not, don't have to go over to West because that service is only there. I think these tweaks to this definitely make it clear that, you know, the expectation is there will be times when you are coming into the office, you know, and I don't know if it needs to be totally defined as it's 3 days every week type of thing, or, I mean, yeah, that clarity could be in here, I suppose, just to make it more refined, which I'd be okay with.
Are you, and again, not because it's my idea, let's take that off the table. If somebody else would have came up with the idea, great, but I lay awake about crap like this, and the subcommittee thing, rather than doing this for 30 minutes,
Yeah.
I do believe that this could be done for the next meeting. It's heading in the right direction, it's closer, so I'd rather do that than this. But,
Okay.
again, Commissioner Clark.
I agree with much of what Commissioner Notch just said. For me, kind of the what is that, you know, we should have services and, you know, we're meeting people where they're at and having an opportunity if somebody walks in here that they can get connected, that they can start on whatever it is they're needing. In each place fits the what and the why. Actually has nothing to do really fully with the flexible work policy. It really has to do with us making sure that there is access. But I very much agree with that. I also finally had the thought too of one of the bigger challenges. This part's not new for anybody here or listening, But one of the biggest challenges with this building for people coming and looking for services is paying for parking, and the city owns the lot. You know, could we work out some agreement, which means we probably have to pay for it, that we could have short amounts of time or at least a few spaces that people could come in so they can access it like they can in other places. You know, depending on who you talk to in different counties, probably the exact same counties, almost all counties do have flexible work they have flexible working. They might not have a policy like we do. We actually did come up with this, remember, as part of the strategic planning, and administration put a lot of time in it. I do appreciate the tweaks in this, and I am concerned, regardless of what our mechanism, whether it's now or a subcommittee or when we come back, that we are tying the hands of the people who actually are supervising. We have tended to have few people on this board that actually have supervised many people. And when you're supervising a lot of people, there are different ways of work, and it's just important that we're listening to best practices. So I am fine with the subcommittee. I think there will need to be individual meetings after that, because I'm not sure there will be an agreement coming out of that, frankly. And I do want to just say again, the day of our next meeting, we are electing a new board member, and I think we're going to need to, whatever decision we're doing, that person should be included in it. So I am fine with that. I'm fine with that composition, and I don't know that that timing fully works. So I think a report can come back on that day, but I think action should wait till we are fully on board with 5 people. And I would be fine with waiting till the retreat, because I do think part of this has to do with what is our strategic priorities. But I am hearing a desire to at least keep moving on it, and I'm okay with that, or at least the conversation. So I think that's fine.
You look like you want to say something, Mike.
And I'm totally fine with that, especially after I've heard some different issues here that are related. And frankly, I don't like to have one issue on a retreat agenda very often, so it does solve that little issue too. But then we can try to have something done in a couple of weeks, but I think that's a challenge, but we can work at that.
I think our challenge is, like even this conversation now, what I just heard Steve say and what I just heard Terrell say. Joe obviously has said it often enough. I've heard that. I haven't heard exactly what Terrell and Steve just said this morning, and I think that's what you're alluding to, which that's when we have a lot of email correspondence individually meaning like you and us, you and me and Terrell and you and Steve and you and Joe and you. We don't have this kind of conversation, and often enough maybe on issues like this. So that's what will help. I think we're closer than what Terrell, you might think we are. I think this is going in the right direction. I think with what Steve said, I think we could get something a little bit more specific, like you said, maybe just has to have it spelled out or whatever. So I think we're closer than what you think we are, but maybe not. Commissioner Clark?
And that's the part I'm not sure about. For example, if we came back with a policy that said everybody has to be in the office X many days a week, I wouldn't support that. I don't think that's a flexible work policy. And I think it takes away from the 410s and a whole bunch of other things. Now, I say that in part because in looking at the information staff have given us, we already on average have a fair amount of people that are in other places. And so I want to make sure that we actually have a flexible work policy. So I'm heartened to hear if you think we're pretty close. I think that's a good thing.
So I guess the motion would be in order to accept
I'll
or
move-
create the subcommittee then, and if you said you agree with Steve and Joe, and
I'll-
Mike and Jill and whomever else you want to
Yeah,
provide.
other
so-
staff would need to be involved.
Yeah.
Right. I will move that we create a subcommittee that includes Commissioner Notch and Commissioner Persky, administration, whoever our administrator agrees with, to be coming back and seeing if there's a good way to finesse it. A goal being, if not a full-blown, so my motion, if not a full-blown proposal, that at least are reported by our next meeting.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Clark.
Yeah, if I can ask the question, so Commissioner Clark, then are you thinking that that would be the final, or that would be an update with the final to come at the end of November?
I'm guessing it'd be more likely what you just said, but maybe there's some tremendous breakthrough that would still have to have more conversations, right? To
Okay.
make sure we're all there before the next meeting. That's why I'm not sure that it can happen fully in that amount of time, but I think my guess is,
So basically,
Hopefully.
we'd have next week.
Right,
that's why I'm not sure it's realistic,
a
honestly.
week, because then it needs to come.
Right, and we all need to see it beforehand.
And I think, you know, again, I think it can be done. We just have to, what we've done is, it seemed, and I shared this with Mike this morning, it seems like I had to keep bringing it up every month and a half, and we didn't have this conversation. It just goes on and on and on. So that's my sensitivity. If you set a goal, you reach the goal. So I think it could be, I think one conversation, we share our thoughts with Steve and Joe, and Mike and Jill, and whomever. And, again, it's a work in progress. It will change, and it needs to change. And it will change when our fifth board member is here. You know, depending on who that fifth board member is, they may want a caveat, or we'll see pretty quickly it's not working like we wanted it to work, and then we'll change it. So it's gonna be changed, but we haven't changed much lately,
Well, and
in my opinion. Commissioner Clark?
yeah, so sometimes words can catch us, you know, trip us up. So I'm not sure if that's the case. Like, I will be honest, I'm not sure that you support a flexible work policy. And if you don't, then we probably do have a split, right? We'll continue to have one. If you're saying you support it and we've heard you say tweaks, then that's fine, but I think that's part of the challenge. I have personally supported making sure that changes keep happening. I believe that that has happened with departments. I think we are seeing very good outcomes. It's hard to not just keep thinking about when human services alone dealing with 40% more volume than before COVID with no new staff, not more numbers. That's huge. Like, we should be celebrating that while we're looking at, so whatever changes we make, let's not break something that isn't broken. And I'm not saying anybody is necessarily saying it, but sometimes I think I'm hearing this maybe between the lines. If this is a matter of looking tough or saying, we want to determine where bodies are as a board, a policy board on a regular basis, I do have some challenges with that. I have talked, including Joe, I'm looking at you. I've talked to a lot of the same counties you have, and I can tell you within Human Services, there's a lot of flexibility, in part because different work demands different possibilities. So I'm hopeful. I think, you know, I'm not sure that I fully will get in trouble for saying it this way. Sometimes I think we're searching for a problem that doesn't exist, but I do think that it's important that we're, you know, continuing to look and working with administration and department heads on making sure that people can get the services they need. And that's the part I agree with what you just said, Commissioner Notch. As long as people can get the services they're looking for and face-to-face, as well as online, as well as on phones, as well as in the community, I'm happy. And in some ways, it's ridiculous that I'm even saying it that way, because 6 years ago, that wasn't something that we expected out of people, and now we're getting that, and we haven't added staff that a lot of places have. So I know you don't want to talk about this for 30 minutes, but since I'm agreeing to not be in that committee, I want to be clear about where my thoughts are, at least.
And we can share that, and should share that offline
Yeah,
with them
we also
too.
can't break the open meeting law, so.
Well, we're not gonna break the open meeting law, it's one-on-one, but okay, let's go. So now we
Yeah.
made the pork, and now we got the casings ready, we're making the sausage halfway. I never said that I was opposed to the flexible work schedule, never. And again, it's like it's a frickin' novel idea that we require people to come to the office to work, some of the time. And everybody I talked to, including yesterday, in 15 counties, everybody's saying, you're not fully back to work. And then I see the major corporations, and there isn't one person in the public that has not said, I can't believe that you guys are, and what departments are, there's department directors in this room, it isn't many departments. There's very few departments that I hear from that people say, I called them, they didn't answer. I had to call them again, and I had to call them again. Most departments return the call, get the call, and most departments are, so it's not all that, but people have just pushed back on this, that they don't even want to come. And then we were told, well, they come back in the office. And then I'm told by another department director once a month. Okay, well, that's a flat-out lie in my mind. When you tell me they're coming back to the office, and then I have to find out from another department director once a month, that's not meeting the goal. So nobody in the public has told me, let them work at home, let them do what they want to do. Some people are going to be more productive, and again, the biggest thing is, and I won't name names, I'm telling them to come to meetings, but high-level people that you'd be shocked, that I was shocked at, that are representing people, their attorneys, saying their clients can't get the help they need because they're not here. So again, you spin that any way you want. I'm for a flexible work schedule. I'm for accountability. Some people can do it, some can't. And Steve said maybe it should be more spelled out. It's saying may a lot in here. It's saying managers can decide. Yeah, we're not doing anything then, because the same managers are going to say you don't need to come to the office. So there, now we've got everything except the casing done. So should we continue to make it, or
No.
we got a motion and a
Okay,
second?
I'll second it. I don't
Okay,
think we have
so
one, but-
we got a motion and a second, create a subcommittee with the goal of bringing it back to the next meeting and share our thoughts and then see where it goes. Okay? All those in favor, say aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Chair,
Too late, we're voting, Joe, sorry. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Joe, say aye or nay.
Mr. Chair, usually you do call for discussion, and I just want to just reiterate what Commissioner Notch and Commissioner Clark said about having availability of people in the downtown office. And I think I've been requesting that for a number of years, especially people with social issues that are not computer competent. Maybe they lack even the use of a cell phone. And so, by all means, I do think to meet some of those special needs we have, we need to have that walk-in service downtown. And my vote on the issue was aye.
Okay, there. That was a little bit out of parliamentary procedure, but what the hell, let's go with the floor here. Now we'll recess the regular county board meeting.
Don't we have to do,
One more item, Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Remember, we went back.
Oh, that's right, yep, thank you. We're gonna be on F1 now, the appointment for the 7W Economic Development District. Yep. So, thought about the last conversation, we all heard the same thing. None of us were nuts to necessarily jump on, but the last thing I need, but I certainly have strong feelings on this, so I'll volunteer to be one of the members. And then we need a second
I
member.
thought Commissioner Notch had, so that's fine if you want to, because we were talking about kind of a more rural one and not. I'm still hoping the new person would do it. I will be happy to do it after talking to Joe, until we at least have somebody in place that hopefully will be interested in doing it.
because, Mr. Chair, it'd be an annual appointment.
Right,
appointment.
exactly, so.
So I guess Commissioner Bertram, if you want to do it now, that's fine.
And we could, I don't think it has to be annual. We certainly will be making changes to committee appointments after we get the fifth member. So, I mean, we certainly can look at that, so. But if that'll make this issue go quicker. Do we want to
So I'll move that.
do that? Okay, Commissioner Notch moves that Commissioner,
I'll second with a comment. I do think it's important we have one urban and one rural. I think that's the best way to do it. That way, we're covering our bases as far as the smaller communities and the rural areas, and then, of course, working with the larger cities.
And Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Clark?
if I can, because this came up in a recent conversation with us, St. Cloud is not a very big community in the bigger scheme of life. We are largely, we've got two different parts of this county, and we still have way more in common together than we have apart, so I hope that's how we approach this.
Okay, motion's been made, seconded to appoint myself, Commissioner Clark, to the newly created 7W EDD. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. Joe?
Aye.
Okay, got it. Now we're gonna recess the regular meeting, and we'll convene the Human Services meeting. Melissa, good morning.
Mr. Chair, is H6 included with that? Did you include H6? Or just H5?
Oh, no, that is what H1 through H6. Thank you, Commissioner.
Although-
You're very welcome.
Although we don't have to vote on that, because it's information only. Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Well, there are 6 items on consent.
Right. I'll move the items on the consent agenda, Human Services consent agenda.
I'll second it, and with, I don't know if Melissa has any information on any of these that would add any more than what we gotten in the package.
Motion's been made and seconded for the consent agenda item. I'm glad we're not gonna make a second batch of sausage, so, but go ahead and report back on what, just brief report of things if you want to.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, could you please repeat that question?
Commissioner Notch said if you wanted to share anything on the
Oh.
items on the consent agenda.
These are all straightforward. This is our usual business, so there's nothing unless you have something specific.
Well, one of them was, obviously the cannabis thing is a little new creature, so I didn't know if you wanted to just publicly kind of
Yeah,
discuss what that animal is.
okay, Mr. Chair and Commissioner Notch, this is a grant that actually we had received a year ago, and then they increased it. So this is one of those grants that the state just, they don't ask you if you want it, they just send you more money, and it helps with existing staff. And also, we do a lot of work in the community to try to do prevention. So with this one, we've been doing a lot of work with the schools around vaping and actually trying, and any of the drug use, to try to help them dispose of this and provide kits and do a lot of education around substance use awareness and health. So we said, okay. That's why we accept, and they increased the amount, so.
Okay, thank you for that.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes, thank you. I'm wondering if you could just tell us, for the public, a little bit about the process for the MFIP agreement, just so people are aware of it, because we do get lots of interest in that contract, so if you could talk about that. And then also, if you could just do a very short, and it could be separate from this, but just update about
Yeah.
SNAP/MFIP, where that's at with the state.
Sure, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Clark. The Minnesota Family Investment Program, it mandates us to do this biannual service agreement. So we have an open comment period where people can comment on the plan. And there's an extensive plan that's in your program. So people can go to this. It's included in the packet. You can read all that. And it's open for a whole month. It closed on October 6th. And then we include any public comments about it. So that's included in there. And then as for the federal shutdown, as of now, we are at the spot where the biggest program that's impacted is the SNAP program, so food assistance, supplemental nutrition assistance program. And because in the system, in our antiquated systems, it's connected to MFIP, the Minnesota Family Investment Program, the state may figure out how to take those apart, and it may not impact MFIP, but as of last I heard, these two things are tied together in the system, and so it may impact MFIP recipients as well. As for the food program, people who have SNAP and are eligible for SNAP will receive their benefits for October. Should the federal shutdown continue into November, then those benefits are at risk, and we're not expecting that those benefits would go out. And as for SNAP, we have about 12,500 people on SNAP in Stearns County. So that will impact that number. And when you include MFIP, if that's tied to it in the system and they can't get their benefits, it's closer to about 15,000 people in Stearns County that are impacted.
Commissioner Notch?
And just for the public, what's the average SNAP benefit?
That is a good question, Mr.
it-
Chair,
it's a
Commissioner
limit,
Notch.
isn't
I'm
it?
not sure. In fact, I don't even know if I have the director. Yeah, we actually, it totally depends upon the number of people in your family, how many children you have,
Right,
and,
but isn't it set like per person only, I always thought it was only like $97 a month. or
oh,
something.
if you're asking, I couldn't say the exact dollar amount, but I can find out if we know that number. I will tell you that the total benefit amount does not pay for food in the month. That I can tell you. This does not pay for food, especially with the cost of the inflation and cost of food prices. So even if people receive SNAP, it does not pay for whatever amount of people you have in the family. I know that, anybody knows that, it's a support, doesn't pay for food every month. Yeah.
And I can tell you that probably 65% of the people in Stearns County don't know what you're talking about because they've never been on it. Not a judgment, but it's a reality. So everybody talks about the 35% that are going to be impacted by it, and they are, but 65% of people are just working their butts off and making a living and trying to survive. So it affects both parts, the people that are receiving benefits and the people that are paying for the benefits. It affects
Yeah,
both
and
sides.
Mr. Chair, you make a great point, and Commissioners, I'll just quickly say this also significantly impacts grocery stores. So the MFIP or SNAP recipients also spend a lot of their SNAP benefits at grocery stores, especially in the rural areas. This will majorly impact, so it has a downstream effect. You're absolutely right. People may not know it, but the grocery store owners will know it real quick, because it does impact their bottom line. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No,
I just-
that's
Commissioner
good.
Clark?
No, it is an excellent point. You know, there, at any given point in time, there are different people who are impacted by this, and the grocery stores is important. I know that our Council on Aging is very worried about the impacts on seniors, some of who kind of go off and on of this. It could be a little bit of money, but it can make a really big difference. And I know our old system the state has given us makes it hard to even know, you know, how many people that we have that are seniors versus something else. And I appreciate the fact you all are looking into that. And you know, we can talk about this more offline, but it is an entitlement program, which means even with the shutdown, it should be going out. That's not on us, that's on the feds and the state. So, you know, the strategies we're having in case they don't get this done, and both sides just need to come to the table and get the shutdown over with so that people can go on with their lives. And then lastly, there are a number of people who are working and still make little enough that they are utilizing it as well. So, thank you.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda item. Joe, good to see you back. You look like you want to say something.
I just want to echo a couple things that Commissioner Clark said, because they're very important as far as, you know, inflation has really hit the cost of a lot of our seniors that are on fixed income, also on the folks that are on low income, and these SNAP dollars are very important for them to keep things going in their lives. So, yeah, by all means, we need to make sure that we're supporting moving that forward.
Okay, so I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda items, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same
Aye.
sign. Okay, that's
Right.
done.
Thank you.
Environmental Services, I guess I'm going to close the Human Services Board meeting, reconvene the regular board meeting. Shelley, I've never been so happy to see you.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you say that.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Persky,
Yeah, on the regular agenda, we went from the regular agenda. Did we approve the regular consent agenda?
we did.
We did? Okay.
Yes.
I'm just looking at the adjustment on
There's the agenda.
on the agenda. Okay.
I'm sorry.
We approved the consent agenda, you didn't approve the agenda? Yeah.
So, Mr. Chair, where I got confused was I think we were moving the agenda, and when you called the question, you said both of them together. So I am not sure whether we did them both at the same time or not, but
I did say we were doing both the consent agenda and the agenda by changing F2 to F1 and F1 to F2. But if you want us to do it separately, we can do that.
I'm fine with
No,
What the hell, let's
I'm
do
fine
it.
if that was, it's up to you, folks.
Just to clarify, why don't we approve the consent agenda
Mr. Chair,
separately, Shelley?
Mr. Chair, Shelley Benson, Environmental Services Director, there were two people here to hear the consent agenda, thought that it was done, so they have left, just so you're aware.
And again, procedurally, Chad May's in the office if we need a county attorney's opinion, but in my opinion, I brought up the consent agenda and changing the agenda from F2 to F1. So as far as I'm concerned, we approved it. But if you want to make it more specific, we can do it again. We're not doing nothing new. We would just be reapproving it, or we don't have to do anything, because in my opinion, we've approved it. But people smarter than me,
I guess Steve and Terrell, you guys made the motion. What were you doing?
I guess I was maybe caught off guard because I had initially thought of pulling E9 for a public hearing, but I don't know what we,
well,
because normally we do the agenda and then we do the consent agenda, but you could have, you probably did say in both.
I can't
I was
remember.
probably still sleeping yet.
I can't remember a lot of things that I say, but I can tell you I did say
I
the
heard you
consent
say that.
agenda
Yeah.
and changing
did.
the agenda, but I guess that's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
So do we want to, send? I would just say, I don't see anything that we didn't approve both, so I'm just going to go with that.
Yeah.
Unless
That's
somebody
fine.
thinks we didn't approve both, and when I say somebody, I mean staff and/or our county attorney, then they need to tell us that before we leave the meeting.
I think we did.
Okay? So let's go with that. So, again, it's really good to see you guys. Yep, let's try this.
Mr. Chair, Shelley Benson, Environmental Services Director. I do have two items for you today. The first one, Supervisor Schlorf will be here to review with you, and we have our water planner, and she will introduce the item and the people that she has to go through it.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Becky Schlorf, Environmental Services, Ag and Water Resources Division Supervisor. So this item is for one of our 4 watersheds in Stearns County. It's for the Mississippi River Sartell watershed. It is currently the last one that is now in the planning phase. And so it is a collaborative, and the group has the option of a community advisory committee as a way of engaging the public and stakeholders in giving input on the content of the plan and implementation of the plan, and making recommendations to the policy committee. There will be 4 to 5 meetings held of the community members. The policy committee has asked for each member or partner to name 3 community advisory committee members. So if all do, that will be a 21-member community advisory committee. And Commissioner Persky is your appointed representative on the policy committee. Commissioner Clark is the alternate. We have communicated with Commissioner Persky and Commissioner Notch on naming 3 people, and we have so far heard from them, Nate Hyla and Bob Guggenberger. We have not heard of a 3rd person. And then also I just want to note that this policy committee also named to the technical advisory committee, not just staff, but 3 people from the ag community. So the ag community is also representative on the TAC. So I can also answer any questions, or Emily Forboard here too from my staff can answer questions.
There's a real small slice that's in the 3rd district, but if you need help with the 3rd, if you want to zero it down like in an email to all of us, I certainly can help find the 3rd member if the rest of the members need help.
Well, and Mr. Chair, you can name 3 people or up to 3 people. They are looking to pull the committee together for the first time in November. So if you name 2 today, we can come back on the 5th, or Emily and Shelley can come back on the 5th to have you appoint a 3rd person.
Commissioner Clark?
Yeah, I've got a tiny part in the first district, tiny. I mean, most of the people, which are significant people, not a lot of land, are in the other 2 watersheds, but if you're needing more recruitment, certainly can do that. But it would seem like we could come back with, maybe do some, Mr. Chair, and come back with another name.
Do me a favor, I think, for all of us, and just recap it in a couple sentence email. what you're looking for.
Okay.
Please.
I can do that. Would you want to move forward with appointing the
Yes.
two
Absolutely.
today? Okay, thank you, that would
I
help.
don't know why we wouldn't want to do that, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Joel?
Mr. Chair, yes, I just would like to say that, as far as appointing that third position, it doesn't matter which district they come from, and as far as yourself or Terrell having a recommendation, just as long as they're in the watershed. So you folks have connections with people that are in Steve's district and my district as well, and if you think you've got viable candidates, by all means, make those, okay?
In that email, if you don't mind, Becky, define again the area. I know you sent the map the first time around, very specific map and everything. Just do that again with the email, if you don't mind. Commissioner Clark?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I mean, recognizing that for each of us, unless we find somebody from that area, finding somebody from the second district probably is going to be helpful, because people are going to spend a bunch of time on this, and so unless they're thinking broadly, we're asking them to spend a bunch of time on it. So I just want to, for me, I mean, I think just being respectful of it, but yeah, there's a tiny, tiny bit in both cases.
Okay. So a motion would be in order to appoint the two members that have been presented, with the understanding we'll try to add a third as soon as we can.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Commissioner Notch moves that.
Second, I wasn't sure if Joe wanted to. That's why I
Commissioner Clark seconds it. Any further discussion? Again, the motion is to appoint the two members suggested, and then knowing that we're going to look for a third member. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same side. Joe did say aye. I drowned it out with the hammer. I wish I could do that, Joe.
Aye.
I wish I could do that when you're here. I could drown you out with the hammer, but that doesn't work at all. But okay, next item of business is the public hearing for the plat Buffalo Ridge Estates, third edition. Shelley and Angie, do you want to prep us on that?
Mr. Chair, this item was before us in, look at the date, September 25th, or September 23rd of 2025, and at that time, there was a lot of conversation about having discussions with the city and discussions with the township, and you moved to have a public hearing, and then subsequent to that, Angie Berg and I went out and met with the township and the city and the developer all in a meeting, and I will let Angie go through that information with you, and then we will hold the public hearing.
Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. Angie Berg, Environmental Services. As Shelley indicated, the intent of this meeting is to consider a public hearing for the plat of Buffalo Ridge Estates, third edition, submitted by A Plus Custom Homes of Cold Spring. As is typical, when the board doesn't concur with the Planning Commission, you typically will schedule your own public hearing, and that's what we are doing today. Packet page 230 is where this item does start. In your packet, I'm going to move you to page 234, and that is a summary of the meeting that Shelley and I had with the City of Richmond and Munson Township and the developers. That was at the request of the board at your September meeting. And I'm going to ask the control room, I talked to Janet, she's going to have the doc cam available so we can show a couple diagrams. So the property that we're talking about is located in the blue right here. It's adjacent to the City of Richmond, and it is zoned residential 1. It was rezoned to residential years ago, and the property is now proposed to be platted into 1-acre lots in the township. Shelley and I met, again, I'm not going to read through the list, but everyone was there from Munson Township. I believe everybody from the city, perhaps maybe one was missing, and also the developers were there. So they didn't necessarily make it easy for you, I wouldn't say. We did ask what compromise would look like to each of the parties, and I think there was definitely some headway made by the Township Planning Commission chair and the city administrator for Richmond indicated that they would work together and attend each other's meetings to be a little bit more transparent about what's going on in their respective jurisdictions. We did learn that Munson Township, the city of Richmond is undergoing a comprehensive plan, of which it's unclear if the township was or was not invited into that process, but they haven't been at the table for that. I'm going to let them all speak for themselves because there's a room full of people here. Shelley and I can definitely weigh in as needed. What I will say is that the plat does meet the requirements of the subdivision ordinance in terms of lot size, lot width, septic suitability, stormwater, et cetera. And the last thing I will say is Shelley and I have discussed changing the process a bit, where preliminary plats will now come to you right after Planning Commission instead of waiting for the final plat, because there's typically significant time and investment put in between preliminary and final. And in this particular case, easements were vacated in preparation for the final, so there's going to be some challenges if the plat doesn't get recorded. So we're going to make those changes so everyone in this room, including the board, isn't in this position again. So, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Shelley?
to that point about changing process, we also had the conversation related to any time there's a rezoning or a plat being ahead of that with that developer and making sure they have contact with the entity if they're within a certain distance from the city, whether that be this city or any other city. As land develops, I think that's one of those responsibilities we can put on that landowner to have conversations so they understand what's going to happen in the near term with those cities as they develop. So I think it's important that we push them to have further conversations with other entities, not just the one that they're in, but potentially ones that they may be in the future. So that's the other part of the process that we're looking to.
And that varies from area to area, but I firmly know that these conversations were had to some degree, maybe not at a city hall or township hall, but either at Halfley's or Corky's or the Old Coliseum or Jerry's, but the conversation should be had no less someplace. And I think in this case, they certainly were, maybe not to the degree that some would like to, but I appreciate you having the meeting and for the people that came to the meeting. So I think that was important part of this process. So anything more before we open the public hearing? Okay, so we'll open the public hearing on the Buffalo Ridge Estates Third Edition. So if there's anybody here for that issue, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and then state your feelings. Please. Nobody be shy.
Matt Burton, Munson Township. Good morning. I just wanted to clarify that we were not invited to the comprehensive plan. We had a meeting on the Buffalo Estates, and the city was at that meeting. Never indicated anything that they were interested in talking about it or bringing it to you guys. We feel a little bit like we were backdoored on this because I think it's something we could take care of. We don't need to have you guys involved in our planning and zoning. I guess that's where I'm at.
Well, that would be great. I'd rather have it happen in Richmond than here in St. Cloud. Anybody else here from the public?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm Jerry Rugemer, one of the 4 owners of the Richmond farm right next to this development. And I don't know what's going on with this deal, but the city of Richmond is there, and there's also 4 homes with 2.5 acres between the city of Richmond and Munson Township already. And now, the way I understand it, the city of Richmond wants to take over and put sewer and water in there, which it's, to me, it's not. If you're gonna build a home on 1.5 acres of land, and you don't have the facilities for sewer and water, then you shouldn't be building there to begin with. The city shouldn't have to provide it. It's not it's township, not city. And, that's all I got to say really about it, but if you buy land there, you should have a thing telling you that if you run out of water or your sewage system that's your problem, not the city of Richmond to come in and solve it for everyone. Now, some of the numbers that had come up, the developer was telling me that in order for this to happen with Richmond, the lot price would go like to 180,000. Where now as today, you can buy that same lot for 70,000 from him and put your own sewer and water on it. You know damn well that that's not gonna cost you 90,000. And, if, you know, then you don't have to pay no sewer and water to the city or anything. You know, you should be able to afford, if the well goes dry, to drill another one. So, I don't see where the city needs to get involved in that at all. So, as a matter of fact, I think it's, when they first started developments and that we had adjoining property, now the leapfrogging effect, that was going on when they built the other 41 home deal on the other side of us. So now isn't Richmond leapfrogging across Munson Township to start a city again? That, you know, that's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mary Hemish. I live on the adjoining property just directly to the north. I just wanted to reiterate the leapfrog over 7th Street. Those lots along 7th Street are large. It's Munson Township. If you look at the plats that are already there, the properties that are already there, they are larger. They're 2-acre plots, and they go along Dutch Avenue and they go along 7th Street. And we've got two large lots along County Road 23. The development is proposing 1-acre lots. I don't know that you can justify putting a 1-acre lot into a city when you've already got the adjoining properties are bigger. They're Munson Township, and I feel they should stay Munson Township. And if the city of Richmond is indeed looking at their comprehensive planning process, and if they're still working on it, maybe they need to look at, if we've already got bigger lot size developments happening on the north and west side of Richmond, if they want a denser population of homes, maybe they need to look at a different area of the city to do that process. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, good enough, all right, okay. Okay. Okay, all right, okay, bye.
My name is Paul Schmitz. I live just west of Buffalo Ridge Estates. I own
If you can state your address, I'm sorry.
23471 Dutch Avenue North.
Thank you.
So I own the 2 lots, the west. Just there, we bought them to stay in the township, and we don't want it to go city. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I ask Mary's address? Did you state your address? Do you mind just stepping up, and you too, Mr. Rugemer, if you don't mind, just for the record, I'll get my hand slapped.
We're the owners of the agricultural land, 4 of us. That's, mine is 23507, County Road 23. What's Route 23, what's that, 7?
My address is 23477 County Road 23.
That was Mr. Rugemer and Ms. Hemish, so, okay, sorry about that. Anybody else here from the public?
Hey, my name is Steve Schreifels, 23495 Dutch Avenue. I own the property at the northeast end of the field, the one on the, this way on the left. My question is, there's a possibility for stormwater management of a possible HOA, Homeowners Association, being formed. And there is some protective covenants that were recorded in 2017 at the county. Will they be following them? It says it runs with the land for the whole Buffalo Ridge addition. And I think it might be a private matter versus a county matter, but that's one of my questions. My other comment is, I think the city of Richmond, I have nothing against them, and I feel they're a good city. But for my family's benefit, I think it's better that at this time, my property does stay in the township. But there was no mention of if the original 5 lots in the Buffalo Ridge, there's no mention of annexation. And my question is, if somebody can answer it, what is the future plans if, the time and plan, if they know if they're gonna wanna talk about annexation on my property. And like I said, for my family's benefit, I feel at this time it should stay in the township. Thank you.
So the 2 questions, the last question, if there is any discussions on annexation, it's not coming from us. It would be between the city and the township, or at least it should be. So, Mr. Schreifels, talk to the city, talk to the township, what those plans are. It will not come from us. And then the first question, the HOA, I assume you're aware of that, and can you answer that question for me?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, so I did speak with Mr. Schreifels yesterday. He was in the office as well, but for the benefit of the public, the homeowners association is going to be something that they establish, and that is that's a private covenant. And so in terms specifically to stormwater, the township is going to be taking over operation and maintenance of the stormwater facilities if the development goes through. Mr. Schreifels and I were talking about private covenants that are filed on the land. That is different than the stormwater that the township will be administering. That's the private covenants that say what what size your house needs to be and what color, and those are not county enforced covenants.
So if you need more clarification on that, talk to Angie about, if you need more confirmation on the HOA part, you can talk to Angie. Anyone else here from the public on this issue? After everybody's done, we'll hear everybody once. The mayor's here.
I'm Jim Hemish. I'm the mayor of Richmond, 18974 230th Street, Richmond. I'd like to welcome you guys. Thank you for allowing us to have our concerns on the city side of this issue. Everybody has an opinion, and listening to everybody has their opinion. For one thing, the city has never asked any of these people to annex it. The only way the city can put services out in the township is by annexation first, and then the services follow. So on your map right now, we have 2 properties in the yellow that have both in the last 3 weeks have been inquiring the city about having city services because both of them, their septics are failing. And they also see the opportunity that they can build more houses out there if they annex it in. And because the houses are built specifically so there's room on both sides, they can actually go from their lot and put 3 houses on them lots. So nothing's confirmed yet, but that is one of the things that we're working on, which brings us to this next project of what we're talking about. So in 2006, the city did a comprehensive plan with the townships. We tried to do it with Wakefield and Munson. And when it comes to signing, which everybody has their own opinion, the city signed it and formed it and brought it to the county. Both townships decided not to sign it, which was fine. I mean, they have every authority not to sign it and not agree. But obviously without that, we don't have an order of annexation, and that's some of our issues of why it's always a fight every time the city wants to take property in for the township. With saying that, what I feel is kind of interesting is you have 2 people that spoke today that when we did our last development on the other side of County Road 23, they were at our meeting asking for, make sure you keep a road so we have a room to bring services out to their property. Why should that be our concern if now they're speaking they don't want us out there, but yet when we were talking about a property in between them, they wanted to make sure we left room so we could put services. So it's kind of contradicting the whole thing. So at the end of the day, what we're looking for as a city is we're trying to protect our area for our water and soil so one of the things is with this proposal, there's going to be nine more wells and 9 more septic systems put in there. They already, on that 20-acre property that's there, already has eight homes that have services already with water, with septics and wells. So, you know, if I do my math right, that's 17 wells and 17 septic systems in a 20-acre parcel, which you don't see that very often, that many in that small of an area. And from what I understand from our water wisdom area, our water comes from that direction. So we want to kind of protect our area. That's why we're looking at why we don't like to see this happen. And in 2000, I think it was 2003, the old Jennings well drilling spot, when they tested their water, their nitrates was 12.6. So we know there's a high nitrate over there. I can't speak for everybody else that's over there because I don't go look at what their water is. That was one of the ones that the city had tested at the time. And so that's just one spot in that area that has high nitrates. And then obviously the other thing that I brought up at the original planning commission meeting was when I took over in 2009 as mayor, the first thing that I got to do was bring the Southside addition into town. The same thing that's gonna happen to here eventually. It might take 20, 30 years when we're all gone, but we had to go put every house down there had to have water and sewer brought to them because they couldn't put new wells in. Well, we could sell their house. They had to put new septics in and they had high nitrates. So I just looking at, we're always told not to repeat history, and this is exactly what you're doing if you allow this, is you're gonna repeat history. It might not be in our lifetime, but it will be in somebody's lifetime. So the other thing is our, you know, I'm not so worried about our ability to grow. There are other places to build. We can go other directions. That's not the thing. And I have no issues with the custom builders. I mean, they do a great job building homes. You know, our issue is, you know, there are some state statutes that actually affect us too, and the newest one came out in 2020. It's that extraterritorial development. So this issue is not new. This has happened other places. We're not the only ones going through this problem. So at the end of the day, you know, the public safety of the wells and having the septics all there is what we're looking at. And, you know, like I said, we're probably gonna take 2 more properties in and there's gonna be more houses, so we're gonna be even closer yet to this property eventually. So, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Rod Gherkin, 21903 Lois Lane, Cold Spring.
Lois Gherkin. We're the developers from A Plus Custom Homes.
Just one thing to note on what Jim talked about was we did get a well sample on the lot right in that development right now, and the nitrates were fine. So as far as water-wise in that development, the water should be fine in that area. As far as our septic systems nowadays have come a long ways from 30 years ago and are very code compliant and last a long time. People shouldn't have to worry about them contaminating any wells nowadays with WATAB's designs and there shouldn't be any concern over that. We are developing in Munson Township, and we talked with the city of Richmond, tried to get some info on one of the big thing is annexing it into the city is a cost. When you bring in water and sewer, we'd have to come all the way up from the south end of town, bring it up, then put curb and gutter in. You're talking another $750,000 that would be added onto the lots, which right now the city has over 10 lots that are for sale for $50,000-$60,000. There's no way these would sell. It's just not. It's not going to be it won't be. We won't be able to sell them at that point.
I just want to reiterate what Angie said. We went through all the Stearns County platting procedures and we met all the requirements necessary for this plat.
Okay. Any questions from members to the applicants? Okay, thank you. Anybody else here for the public hearing? Pat Evans, 545 First Street Northwest, City of Richmond, also councilman. This came up early last month, or maybe 6 weeks ago. My main concern about this, we're putting wells, septic systems in our aquifer that feeds the city of 1,400 people or better. I believe the county probably should look at doing a overlook of if there's any property that's going to be developed anywhere in the county. It definitely should be looked at if there's within so many hundreds of feet of public sewer and water, that it should be hooked up rather than even bringing any type of possibility of contamination to that, to the water of the majority of the people. You've all heard of PFAS and forever chemicals. This is out there. We start putting in more septic systems over our aquifer, there's definitely a concern. I have to apologize to the township of Munson. I did some research. Yes, they were not involved in our plan. That was an oversight that we're working on. This plan has been going on for 3 years. Hopefully, we're in the last 60 days of it. But with that, again, it's the contamination, and maybe the septic systems have improved 100% from 20 years ago. But let's not repeat what we had down the south side of Richmond. We have sewer and water and a lift station within 100 to 200 feet of this property. The private sewer and water is not inspected daily. Our sewer and water is tested. Our sewer systems are definitely monitored daily, if not weekly, to keep fresh water for everybody. I'm in favor of all the development that we can get, but with that too, we're not out to annex anybody's property. This is the safety end of this. When it comes to sewer and water, when it comes to what happens if we run out of fresh water. Where is the 1,400 people going to go? How many more wells have to be drilled? How many more tests have to be done? High nitrates level, everybody knows that came from over-fertilizing over the years. And with that, this is a very good possibility only, that these wells will not provide for much more. With that, I would like to thank the commissioners of hearing the second public hearing on this to hear different aspects. So thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else? For the public hearing, Mr. Berger, you can speak again.
You know, in the essence of these sewers and walls and everything else, when they put that 42 lot development north of me, that was all done by Stearns County, and the sand level and that purifies the water, no problem. The wells over there, 42 of them, no problem. Now all of a sudden it's an issue when it's by the city of Richmond. Well, now the city of Richmond has wells that are a big problem, and they have a sewer problem that's a big, they need to fix their system they already have and do the sewer that they have now. When you look at the thing, the city of Richmond puts more phosphorus in the chain of lakes than any farmer ever dreamt about. So don't get on me about all that bullshit. It's not true. So that's all I got to say for now.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else here from the public? Going once, going twice. We'll close the public hearing. Members? If we have questions to the applicants or whatever, they can answer them. That's still part of this process. So, Commissioner Knott.
Well, I was just gonna say, I'm guessing this could have been worked out prior to this an option where the developer could have asked to have the city or contract the city services if they wanted to do so. But I also see the reality, if you're gonna do 1 acre lots, it would almost be impractical to have city services. If the ones that were designed where Mr. Hemish stated, they're talking about the city, kind of makes a lot of sense because, if you put your house in the right spot, now you can sell 2 lots. It definitely was, there was a good forward thinking, whoever created those. And I'm not sure, how this parcel, it might end up looking the same way. As Mr. Hemish said, maybe 20, 30 years from now, it could be an issue. So, I completely understand if the developer's looking at more of a rural development versus a community or city development, doing it this way is probably the most cost-effective way to do it.
Mr. Chair,
Angie?
commenting on Commissioner Notch's thought on future or house placement, that is in the subdivision, proposed subdivision agreement, is a statement that if, in the event the property is annexed into the city of Richmond, owners may want to consider placing their home in a strategic location, and then it goes on to talk about that. So that is included.
Mr. Clark?
Actually, thank you. I'm interested, I have a couple thoughts or questions, but I would also like to hear from you.
Commissioner Persky, are you with us?
I know we can't see him.
Well, that's a good news.
Oh, come on, he looks better than that.
Commissioner Persky, are you with us?
I can see you folks.
Yep. We
Can
can
you hear
see
me
you
and
and we
see
can
me?
hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I had a number of questions. And the first one I'd like to have answered, I heard it said that, the, utilities would have to come from the south side. Now, I want to make sure when we're talking about the south side, are you talking just about extending those, utilities from the abutting, services that are available, or are you gonna have to bring them all the way from the south side? Is there 2 feed lines, or is it just one continuous line? So, I mean, if it's a matter of just extending the utilities from the presence area, that, to me, that's not an issue.
Do we know that, or do we need to have somebody answer that?
Mr. Chair, I believe the city would need to answer that question.
Mayor? Did you hear the question? Okay.
Addressing that issue, on 7th Street, the pipes are run from, they come up Cedar Avenue, they come actually all the way through the intersection. Every house on 7th Street, even if it's on the north side of the road, which isn't in the city, all the pipes have been brought to that side for the reason of future annexation or future development, so they wouldn't have to tear the road up. So the main lines run through Cedar Avenue, and they come into, past the edge of the road, and they're actually just capped off right there for future development. So it's like 300 feet from his property where the end of the pipe is right now.
Okay.
But obviously, everything on that side of the road is in the township, so.
Got it. Commissioner Persky?
Well, I'll let you folks ask any more questions, but I do have a few comments depending upon which way we're gonna go with this. So anyone else have any questions?
Okay. The public hearing is, I'm sorry, closed, but I wanted to ask, what about the property owners on the other side of the, I can ask your question for you, and I don't know who can answer that. I suppose the mayor again. You might want to just stay up here, Mayor.
So it'd be an easement type question.
So when I talked to the attorney, if Rod would want to do this and the property owner want to allow us to do it, we could take it by eminent domain and allow the pipes to go underground. He would still be able to keep the property. We would just have an easement that the water and sewer line would run underground through his property, or he could have the opportunity to annex in and make some type of deal with the city to maybe have his own services collected for him and not have to pay for them. You know, there are other options that can happen.
And of course, if Rod and Lois build the homes, they're sold, then it's not Rod and Lois, then it's the homeowners that you'd have to get that from.
Yeah. So there's one lot between 7th Street and Rod's property. That would be the only lot we'd actually have to have eminent domain to get permission to put the pipes underground. Or we could buy it, or we could annex it in if the owner would allow us to. And that conversation's never been had because we haven't, obviously we're waiting on the conditions of what happens here or moving forward.
And most governments don't like to use eminent domain for something like that.
There are other places in town where we have had to go out, where we provided services out that were in the township that we had, the owner eventually had to annex in order for us to bring pipes there, because we can't put, we have a policy in our city not to put pipes out in the township unless, like, when 7th Street was developed, there was the developer that put the pipes in the ground. It wasn't the city. It was the developer that put it on that side because he owned the land on that side of the road at the time, so.
Commissioner Clark?
I'm sure I'll have something else later too, but could you talk a little bit about the cost or financing for getting city services to these lots?
At our meeting, when we met with the developer, we had him on a Wednesday night, we had him in for a meeting, and we talked about, one of our council members offered even to bring the pipes out there, and the city would finance it, and then let them pay it back. And ultimately, back to what he said, the lots will cost a lot more money, because obviously the services from the city cost money to put pipes in the ground. And, like when we did Southside Edition, at that time, it cost them $30,000. Because they were never in the city, they had to pay the full amount, where, like the ones that are right now on 7th Street, if they annex in, it's gonna cost them like $49.50 to hook up to the sewer system. So, and that's what our standard fee is for a hookup. Obviously, to Rod's project, you're talking whatever the pipes were. I think when we talked about it was like $150,000 just to put the pipes in the ground, but that was no road, no nothing. I was just putting the pipes in the ground with no hookups. It was just putting the bare minimum in.
Commissioner Notch?
Yeah, as long as Mr. Hamish is up here, is there water stubbed up that far too?
Everything runs through that road, is on the north side, available to be used.
Water and sewer?
Water and sewer are both on that side of the road.
Okay. Don't go too far, probably.
You may have-
Well, the public hearing's closed. Go and ask him, whisper in his ear. I don't want to violate, I closed the public hearing. And the county attorney's in the room. So, Joe's done, Steve's done. Commissioner Clark said she wants to hear from me. Well, the last place I want to be right now is here.
Yeah, these
For
are
what it's
tough.
worth, that's.
I mean, I was on
partially
the city
what I was
council for
thinking,
8 years, and honest to God, people would come to the council meeting and say their neighbor dogs are barking. And first question I would ask is, did you go talk to your neighbors? And they said, we don't want to go talk to the neighbors. That's what's wrong with the world today. We wouldn't have to be here. Again, I've heard some positive things this morning. The meeting being one, the only reason I agreed to pull it from the consent agenda is I said I want a meeting, which I was hoping we wouldn't have to force, that you guys start talking to each other, and so that did happen. So that's a positive. And I heard a couple of comments this morning that, we weren't included, admission that they weren't included, that they should be included. Comprehensive plans can be redone. And so if we didn't do anything else positive, we started hopefully a conversation. If I had an open lot beside me, man, you can bet your boots that I would know who owned it, and I would talk to them and say, what are you planning on doing with that? Because then the third question would be, can I buy it from you, that I could control the lot? That's what I would do. And so this has been an open lot. It's no secret in any city where's the potential growth going to be. Those conversations should have happened 5, 10 years ago. From the city, from the township, from any potential developer. And I'm being too practical, but for today's purposes, we either move that we go ahead with this, or we move to deny it. So there's no yellow button. It's either, and of course, the great thing about government is you're going to upset people and you're going to make people happy. So
And there's
I
no-
didn't want to
no
play
voting present.
500 this morning or make sausage, and now I'm needing to do both, so, I'm not gonna, beat around the bush. We need housing, we got a developer that planned into this. Things didn't work out with the comprehensive plan, tomorrow's another day. I'm gonna support, for the development to go forward, and then continue the conversation and do what we need to do. So, again, I'm being forced to make a decision, that's what my decision's gonna be. Commissioner Clark?
Yeah, a couple of concerns I have, and I really appreciate, I know this has been something that's been being looked at for quite a while. So if I might, I agree with the council member about it would be great to have some kind of ordinance or better strong before somebody comes to us in the future, if you're however close you are to a city limit, that you have to work out the planning together. Like we shouldn't, doesn't feel quite like Solomon and splitting up a baby, because it's really, you're picking a baby. And that's really not what we're here for. I'm concerned about the sewer and water since it's available, and there's the possibility of it costing people a lot less than it will later on. I'm concerned about that. And the cost will get borne eventually, and it may be sooner than later. And I'm very disappointed, using your yellow button, you don't have a yellow button, that this isn't something that's been worked out, because it should be. It's right there. It's not even the same problems that we know happen in many communities. And so that's what I'm struggling with.
And again, the bad news is it wasn't worked out here. The good news is it can be worked out for the future. This isn't the end. Richmond has grown, Munson Township has grown, Cold Spring, Wakefield have grown. So this isn't the beginning of the issue, it's the continuation of the issue. So please, go ask who the neighbor's lot is, what they're gonna do with it, and how can we be a partner in that. A lot of the joint annexation agreements that I was involved with when I was on the planning commission, brought the cities and the townships together. They said the townships got 5 or 10 years of taxes. When it was annexed, the city reduced the cost of bringing the infrastructure. There were compromises made, how that could evolve into something that both the township and the city could. That isn't new. That's happened in a lot of jurisdictions in Stearns County. Stearns County is not going to make that happen, and nor should we. It's not our place. If we did that, we'd get criticized for saying, what are you sticking your nose in to Munson and Richmond's business for? And that would be a legitimate point. It's not our place. We can be facilitators. We can introduce you to a potential husband or girlfriend, but we're not going to make you get married. I made an analogy, I'm sorry. So, I think, personally, I think we've talked enough, and I said I said what I'm gonna do, so I guess I'm gonna make a motion to approve, Commissioner Clark.
No, it's okay, you can wait. Joe said he had some comments he wanted to do, so you could do it after the motion if you want.
Maybe, can you text them to me, Joe, and then I'll let you know if I wanna hear them or not. Would that be fair? I'm gonna make a motion to, approve the plat, Buffalo Ridge Estates, 3rd edition, in order to keep the conversation going. Can I get a second for that?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Okay, motion's been made by me, seconded by Commissioner Notch to approve Buffalo Ridge Estates 3rd edition. Commissioner Persky.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Is it possible just to bring the picture of the map up again? No, the one that shows the whole community, or the one that had actually the yellow, the plat. There we go. Yeah, you see those plots that are in yellow, and the ones that are stressed because of the situation with their septics and needing to be coming into the city. Then can we just show the larger picture of the entire township and this annexation spot, or this development spot? The large picture of the entire township. Yeah, okay, you know, as we look at that picture, we're talking about the piece that's in blue. And you look at the entire rest of the township and how much area is there. There's places where the township could expand. But we're looking at making that blue section more township, okay? When we're in positions of planning, we're not planning necessarily just for tomorrow or 2 or 3 years from now. We should be doing longer range planning. And that's why those areas that were in yellow, those septics are failing, and now they're asking to come into the city. Now, I come from a background as a mayor, as a council member, and working cooperatively with our township. You've got to be working together, and that's not happening here. But by going ahead and just pushing these into being township lots and putting separate septics and separate wells, when we think, well, what's this area going to look like 20 years from now? We've created a problem, we've created an island. And by all means, my encouragement is the property owner and the city and the township should be all working together so that they see that there's going to be some expansion of the city of Richmond, and there's going to be development out in the township. As you drive up the county road to the northwest, look at all those township lots, okay? And there's room for more of them down there. Also down to the southern portion, all those township lots that are on the lake, okay? There's probably expansion areas to the northeast for the township, but the township should not be expanding where it abuts the city, because that's where, in theory or in practice of expansion, that's where the city is going to grow. Again, this is the place where the property owners should be talking to the city. And Commissioner Bertram, you mentioned too, there's ways that you can make the financing work, but that's not our job as a county to be doing that. Is trying to figure out how to do that. But yeah, you can put those things over 10 years so it's not such a great burden on the lots. Yes. So to me, when it comes to planning, you know, we need to have that township, that property owner, and that city working together, and you folks aren't doing that. But I can't support making the mistake of adding more township that abuts the city with separate lots. So that's where I am with it.
And I guess the only part that I would disagree with you on, we're not creating problem, we're reacting to a problem that was created. We didn't create, you know, people not being a part of the comprehensive plan. Comprehensive plans are just that, they're 20, 30-year plans. Well, how can you have input if you're not at the table having that larger discussion? So we didn't create it, we're being forced to react to it. And again, we need housing, and it is, you know, look at the lakes, the number of lakes in the immediate area that are sewered. Some are sewered and water. Who would have ever thought cabins around the lake would have sewer running around the lake? So time will evolve. I believe that this probably will be annexed one day, or sewer and water will be provided. The lake cabins that are around lakes are not annexed to the sewer water entity. It's a separate sewer and water entity. So you don't need to be a part of a city to have water and sewer. There's different ways of doing that. But again, I can't force you to buy a loaf of bread today if you don't want to buy a loaf of bread today. That day will come, but it's not our job or role, in my opinion, to do that. Okay? So a motion's been made and seconded. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the Buffalo Ridge Estates 3rd Edition plat, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Aye, at this point.
Okay, do the roll call.
Commissioner Notch,
Aye.
Commissioner Persky,
Nay.
Commissioner Clark,
Nay.
Commissioner Bertram,
Aye.
2-2, which is a tie.
Would this pass if it was 2-1? I'm just curious.
No,
You need 3.
we need 3 votes.
got it. So Commissioner Clark said at this time, so I'm not sure what that meant.
Well, Mr. Chair, we often talk about that sometimes, I know that there's been time that's passed on this, but sometimes people need a bit more time. We say, go away and come back. And I guess at this point, I do want to see how water and sewer will be part of this. These are acre lots. They're not small lots. It's not going to add that much housing. I very much agree with you on a number of things you've said, you and Commissioner Notch, but it's right now where it is in relationship to the city and the services versus septics that concerns me. And I don't know that these two entities can work it out, because this isn't about us working it out. But at least for right now, I don't even know, those are my reasons.
So if, now the motion then, now that failed, so if a motion's made, which has to be made to deny it, that's 2-2, now what do you do?
So, Mr. Chair, with these split vote situations, we're in a non-action. We can bring it back at a future meeting when we have 5 commissioners to make a decision, and then the vote will not be a split vote. So,
And I think, the reality of it is, again, there's more than one way to do this. The developer can say, screw you, I'm gonna do it this way.
we have other choices that the developer
Yep.
can make, certainly.
And again, so that's unfortunate, but I can tell you, if it didn't happen in the last 5-10 years, it's not gonna happen. It's not fair to the developer to have this much money invested in what they're doing to suddenly be stopped. And the planning commission, again, did recommend approval, a majority approval. But it's not fair to be in the situation. This is not gonna solve itself in 5 years. And if I'm a developer and I've got this much money stuck into it, now's not the time. When that lot was vacant and I didn't go talk to the owner and I didn't buy the lot, or if I didn't make accommodations for the lot, and then Steve buys the lot, well, now it's too late for me to say, Steve, you can't build a house on that lot because you should have done that when the lot was vacant and, you could have bought it. So we're not gonna solve this issue in a reasonable period of time for that developer not to do something different. So something's gonna happen, in my opinion, anyway, but this is where we're at, so, but right now, the motion would be, someone would have to make a motion to deny it, right? Commissioner Clark?
When you're talking about there's other options, other ways of getting to the sewer and water, to the city services, would you do?
No, I mean,
There may not, I think you're saying there's nothing we can do about it.
not right now, and the developer can do other things short of this plat being denied. He can do other
Yes.
development in different ways, so something will happen.
Right, or we can also bring this back when we have 5 commissioners and have a conversation and get an action, because this is a non-action. At this point, I don't have an approval, I don't have a denial.
Well, you don't, right now, you don't have an approval. You
Right.
don't know if you have a denial or not, because that motion hasn't been made yet. Which is typical
Mr. Chair?
procedure. Commissioner
Chair?
Persky,
Yeah, I agree with you, we need clarification on procedure, because then how long can this sit on the table, unresolved?
Angie?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Persky, we do have an indefinite waiver from the property owner.
Because for the public, what typically happens is, we have to, react, 60 days? And so if we don't act in 60 days, then the plat's approved. But we've acted on it now, so Rodney, as I said when I closed the public hearing, the public hearing's closed, but if we have questions of the applicant, we can ask those, and I'd like to ask Rod if he has any thoughts on this. And if you don't, just say no. But the public hearing's closed, but I'm asking him a question.
Question?
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are if this doesn't go through, I need to get something through. So right now, at this point, there's a 1.5 acre lot and 2 5-acre lots, am I correct? And they're buildable lots, right?
Yes.
So tomorrow, if I wanted to get a building permit for the 5-acre lot, I could get a building permit for the 5-acre lot and move forward, even though the drainage easement was vacated already. I paid all the park fees, and you're gonna give me all that money back, right?
Correct.
Right? We're in a pickle here. So, something's gonna happen in the spring. Either these lots will be developed and I'll be building on these lots this spring, or I'll be building on the 5-acre lots and the 1.5-acre lot. My thoughts were, it was a lot easier for the city to get revenue down the road with 10-acre lots if the wells and septics do fail. With a 5-acre lot, there's no way they're gonna get annexed in, because every well and 5-acre lot, you can take and move a septic system or redo a septic system or a well or whatnot. I'm just saying what's gonna happen. It's either I'm gonna be building out there next spring, either on a 5-acre lot or on a 1-acre lot.
So to answer your question, Commissioner Clark, I'm not a developer, but that's where I was going. Something's gonna happen.
Right, so I think I'm hearing that one way or the other, there will be septic tanks, not city
Yes,
service.
correct. I will not put city sewer and water out there for that cost. It'll drive me broke.
And long-term, is it gonna be easier to get to where people are gonna wanna do the water sewer if there's more homes? Again, I don't know everything, but
He
I can
just
tell you
got done.
It's gonna be easier.
He just got done saying that they can get an easement through people's properties to get into my development and take over it at that time. So, that would be the 30-year plan, I guess.
And the best way to approach it, Rod, is what I said earlier, was when people want it. I mean, the people around the lakes that have water and sewer and/or sewer, they wanted it.
Yes.
And if you would have told me that 20 years ago, I would have said, nobody around the lake is gonna wanna pay for sewer and/or sewer and water. Well, there comes a time and then people do, so then it happens.
And it could happen. It's just at this point of time, I have a lot of money stuck into this. I've done a lot of research on all the wells and the septics. I did a water test. We have all of this all lined up. There's 1-acre lots all over the place. And I'm not saying that the city can't come in later and take care of it, that it's there, but at this point, people want the wells and septics. I have a couple lots already sold, wells and septics, but not city sewer and water, they said.
And what I was hoping would happen with the meeting is that everybody'd come together, they'd look and say, like a joint annexation, you know what, we weren't part of the comprehensive plan, now we understand you want to do this, let's figure out a way where for 5 years, Munson Township still can get the tax from the property, the sewer cost can be amortized over a period of time, where, again, it's got to be, I still, the old-fashioned, if you live too long, a win-win situation. Nobody's got to get screwed in this deal, in my opinion. But right now, that's where we're headed. Commissioner Knott?
Yeah, well, and people also have to realize you can defer these assessments, but somebody's gonna swallow that bill, because it's still a cost of that lot.
Yep.
So, you know, if it adds another 50,000 a lot, you know, if you're the current homeowner and you only paid, let's say, 70,000, well, you might sell it, and then that 50,000 still at some point, somebody's gotta pay that. I mean, that doesn't go away. The other thing is, there's discussion of the annexation of these 3 parcels that are having septic issues. I mean, are those houses 20 years old, 5 years old? It says the development was done in 87, or platted in 87.
Yeah, they're at least 20 years old.
So, you know, that's a reasonable time to expect the septic needing probably to be updated, you know, with changes. So, I mean, again, we're sitting there, nothing's been formalized or finalized on even those parcels, you know, as far as if they're gonna get annexed or not annexed.
So right now, what we do know is something's gonna happen. I mean, with the denial, and I guess it'd be certainly in order if somebody wanted to make a motion to reconsider, knowing that there's gonna be something done. So are we better off having more lots, knowing that one day it would be city services? Or are we gonna go to scenario B where you build 2 lots and bigger where it's not gonna be annexed? Commissioner Knott?
I mean, the other thing that hasn't been discussed is east of Dutch Avenue, you know, there's all this property that's still open, which would tie into all those earlier city streets. You know, if the city decides we're gonna fill in on our way out, you know, it could be a long time that Munson Township, these lots could stay in the township for 100 years if the city starts developing east of Dutch Avenue versus now pushing northwest.
And now this isn't making sausage, this is starting to make bratwurst.
Right.
Now, it's not our place to do that.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But you're making a good point, but again, you're making an excellent point, but it's not for us to do
Right,
that.
that's the orderly annexations.
And that's for them to do that, and so this is where we're at. Shelley?
So, Mr. Chair, at this point, we can also bring this back at a date when we have 5 commissioners. That's another option.
God, I'm getting sick of hearing that.
It will happen before then.
Yep.
I'm
he's
not
gonna
gonna
have
keep
his
waiting.
plans done.
I've waited long enough.
Yep. And I understand, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to snap at you, which I don't think I did.
No, you're fine.
But I was close to doing it, but I didn't do it. But I'm just getting sick of hearing about this 5th commissioner, you know.
It's my reality.
Can I tell a joke, or can't I tell a joke? It reminds me of the Lutheran minister whose kid, the minister said, "Go wash your hands." And on the way to the bathroom, the kid said, "I'm getting sick of hearing about germs and Jesus, and I've never seen either one of them." So I'm getting sick of hearing about this 5th commissioner that is gonna be there one day, but we've been operating like this for 2 years, so we're just gonna keep muddling along. But again, just to be fair, you know, Commissioner Persky or Commissioner Clark could reconsider, knowing that there's gonna be something done, and then we could approve this, and then you could go forward with your plans are, knowing, in my opinion, the chances of having it annexed would be far greater than if you're gonna do what he's gonna do. So, just throwing it out there.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Notch,
do we still have to call though for another vote, correct?
well, reconsider could come first before we go for a motion of denial.
You can do either, however you'd
Okay.
like to do it.
So right now, it's Commissioner Persky or Commissioner Clark, if they're inclined to make a motion to reconsider, or then they need to make a motion to deny, is how I'm seeing it.
Mr. Chair, I think Joe has the look on his face like he's thinking things. Is it okay? with-
Well,
I don't know,
And
just-
Joe, Commissioner
just been-
Persky, and that's fine, Commissioner Persky and I have talked about this. Commissioner Persky's, I'm gonna call it a problem, is that he was the mayor of Sartell. And I told him, Richmond's not Sartell. And quite frankly, Sartell, during his term on the council and mayor, they had issues. They didn't do what they should have done, and so developments happened that he doesn't like. And as I told him, just like I'm saying this, that's not my problem, that's not our problem. That was their problem. So that's being pointed, but, that's, so Commissioner Persky can say what he wants to say. His judgment on this is a little clouded because Richmond's not Sartell. So,
Mr. Chair, I would like to respond. You know, the property owner made the purchase of that property knowing what the situation was with the location with regards to the city. And so those are things that should have been considered in the price. Also, it seems like the cost is rather ambiguous. That the cost of doing those lots is outrageous and they're not gonna be marketable. Well, if you haven't had the conversation with the city as far as how you're gonna work out perhaps the finance of it, as you alluded to, that statement isn't relevant in that you don't know what those are. So, you know, again, this thing could be worked out. And to say, well, we're gonna go ahead and make these township lots, go ahead and develop them, and then the future will take care of that. Well, the future then is taking care of that is when a problem presents itself. That's not being proactive. Being proactive would be is to figure out how to bring those in and make them marketable. That would be proactive. Because again, in the next 30, 50 years, I would think the city of Richmond is going to grow, and this is one of the growth areas, and we should be looking at that. And there's just seems to be a general era around the township and the city with animosities that we can't resolve. And I don't think we're gonna resolve those today. But asking Commissioner Clark and I to change our opinion, we could do that, but, you know, by the same token, one of you folks could make the recommendation to deny. It doesn't have to come from Commissioner Clark and I.
If we wanted it denied, we don't have to make a motion. We made the motion to approve it. I'm not gonna make a motion to deny it. So again, I guess, we need a motion to deny it then, if they're not gonna make a motion to reconsider it. So, and I'm not making it, I don't think Commissioner Notch is gonna, so we can sit here as long as we have to until somebody makes a motion.
Mr. Chair, the hardest part about this is we're talking about approving a plat, but somehow we're caught in a fight between the township and the city of Richmond.
Yep.
If the strict thing is, does this plat meet Stearns County's plating ordinance, and it does, in my opinion, why isn't it being approved?
Planning Commission recommended approval?
Well, yeah.
It meets our ordinances? Yep, and, again, Commissioner Persky puts the onus on Broad and Lois that they missed the boat. Again, getting back to my analogy of an open plat, the city knows where the potential growth is, and I'd be out there having conversations with those landowners. You develop property around the city and other places, Rod, didn't you?
Yes.
Somebody tells me that Rod Gherkin bought the lot beside me, or the lot beside the Coliseum. Nobody, I don't have to ask anybody, what do you think he's gonna do with that? Rod builds homes, so I guess if anybody didn't see this coming, and I'm getting irritated, so I'm gonna stop. So, right now, we need a motion to deny, right? Okay, so how long before, if we don't get a motion, what do we do then?
Mr. Chair, my understanding from meeting with the county attorney's office and Shelley yesterday on this issue is that a motion to deny would be in order, as you're calling for, or a motion to reconsider. If a motion to deny is a tie vote, then there's non-action. And therefore, according to Minnesota statute 1599, the county has to make a decision within a certain amount of days, or the request is approved. So the developers have signed a waiver for, that they could revoke. It is indefinite currently, but they could revoke it, and then we would have 3 months to make a decision. So this is different than some of your other decisions. We are bound by law to make a decision.
So so 60 days started when?
Mr. Chair, the 60 days started when Rod and Lois submitted their final plat.
So how far are we into that 60 days?
Well, I can get that to you in a second, but it's waived.
Correct. So now, again, I'm gonna make baloney up. Pull the waiver. Pull the waiver. The 60 days is an action. I mean, again, it's a hell of a way to do this, but that we're being forced to do this. Commissioner Clark.
I'd like to ask
Who?
I'd like to ask Council.
Chad? Chad May, County Attorney's Office. Tell me the days, Angie, if you got them, before Chad talked.
Mr. Chair, I'm phoning a friend. I'm asking Heidi to help me with that. So
Got it. Okay,
just a
we can
minute,
wait.
please.
Commissioners, Chad May, Stearns County Attorney's Office. Currently, we do have a 2-2 tie vote on a motion to approve. That means no action. I think we know what a motion to deny would result in, therefore it is not necessary because we still result in the same no action state. So we're currently in a state of no action. It can be brought back by the applicant at any point. They can consider their options. But I would say it's done. We can be finished with this item.
And what about a reconsideration in a 3-1 vote?
Is anyone considering a motion to reconsider that?
Don't know that.
Right.
Sometimes I try to help people think.
So I haven't heard that, but I would say it's concluded.
Got it, thank you.
Wait, I didn't get to ask you.
Oh, Chad,
That was one of them. I had to-
Terrell really did want to talk to you, so.
I could tell he wanted to say something, and I appreciate that, but, so in terms of what's in front of us, I mean, this board a lot of times looks at a whole variety of things, not necessarily a narrow scope. It does feel like we're being asked to resolve a dispute between, and I feel bad for the developer, but a dispute between the township and the city. And that's part of my issue, and part of it's the location, and part of it's the fact there are city services right there. Should I only be, I am asking you advice, I'm phoning a friend, only be looking at this in literally the plating issue?
As far as the county's concerned, Commissioner Clark, yes, that's our concern. Obviously, it's been brought up today, two mechanisms for which the township and the city to get together and make some decisions that are their decisions, which is extraterritorial statutory jurisdiction, which can be utilized, as well as annexation. And so, but again, that's not a county, we're not involved in that, and so our only decision right now is the plat that's in front of the county.
Thank you,
Yep.
Mr. Chair. I'm done.
Okay,
I
thank
guess
you.
somebody else might
I
have something.
actually have a question now, as long as you started that. And does this plat conform to our ordinances and to the plating requirement?
I think, the discussion, it's being brought forth to the county board because it has, but then the county board and, the commissions are in charge of making the factual determinations in terms of if it can be voted to be approved or denied.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Commissioner Clark?
Now I have another question, sorry.
I'll just stay
It
after
does
that.
seem
Yeah.
like there are some facts here, though. So if
Right.
it is fitting within ours, concerns aside, then that meets it meets that standard, recognizing we can choose to be incorporating other things, right?
I would agree.
Okay, that's what I want to know. And then, so here, how do I say this? I think sometimes this board does not, whether there's 5 or 4 people, does not always apply that standard, which is, let's only focus on the issue in front of us. Does it meet that? And I try very hard to stay within that. So for that reason, not because I agree with what's happening here, I gotta say, I do think we should be looking at some type of an ordinance that is going to prevent something like this from happening again. Like, it should not even come to us unless it's another requirement perhaps with the planning. So I hope that environmental services and that others would agree with that. But in this case, based on what is in front of us, I'm going to move to reconsider.
Okay, motion's been made to reconsider. I'll second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of motion to reconsider, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay, 3-1. You want to do roll?
Yeah, we should do that.
Okay.
Commissioner Persky?
On a motion to reconsider, Joe, what, you said nay?
You said nay, Joe?
Correct.
Okay, Joe said nay, okay.
Commissioner Clark?
Aye, and I still agree with Joe. I just want to make it clear to all of you.
Commissioner Notch? Aye. Commissioner Bertram?
Aye.
Carries 3-1.
Okay, so the motion to reconsider passes. I'll make a motion to approve Buffalo Ridge Estates, 3rd edition.
Second.
Commissioner Notch seconds it. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay, roll.
Commissioner Clark?
Aye.
Commissioner Notch? Aye. Commissioner Persky?
Nay.
Commissioner Bertram?
Aye.
Passes 3-1.
So the plat's approved, 3-1. Okay,
And Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Clark.
I hope that we are able to come up, we get staff to recommend something for us for the future, if others are open to that, and that the parties still have time to go work on this, because honestly, given the math I'm hearing, it should be doable. But that's between all of you.
It may be inappropriate, but everybody's in the room, so I will ask staff, please convene a meeting with the township, planning supervisors, city council, and the planning commission, and me. and you. Let's drive this, even though we shouldn't. I don't think that's inappropriate, so let's start the conversation. Now, again, there's other properties around the city, so. Okay, God, what a meeting. Okay, let's go to issues by commissioners.
Well, in the essence of time, I'm gonna say none, because I think we have people waiting for us for quite a while again.
Okay, Commissioner Clark?
Same.
Okay, Commissioner Persky?
Yeah, I missed all my morning meetings, so I will be having some afternoon meetings here on the Hill. And I just want to reiterate to both the township and the city of Richmond to try to figure things how they can work together, because the way things are working, I don't think in the big picture things are working well for the community in general. So please work things out.
Commissioner Notch has a question for you.
Yeah, Commissioner Persky, can you make sure you discuss with Senator Klobuchar our Trestle Bridge issue?
I will see if I can get that in there. We've got quite a few items on the APO and on the NACO wish list.
Well, that's okay, we got a road project that needs to get done.
That's true.
Yeah, okay.
And Mr. Chair, remind them of that other bridge too, that one over the Mississippi. I'm sure it's on your list though.
It is on our list, but there's a difference in the decimal point on the two projects.
There is.
I'm not gonna talk about any issues either, but just remind, after this meeting, we're meeting with the Stearns County Township Association Board, and tonight, the Stearns County cities are having their meeting tonight. So we're meeting with both townships today, right now, and the cities tonight as our continued cooperative efforts with county and local government.
And Mr. Chair,
Clark.
just so the rest of you know, we have a Great River Library Board meeting, so I will be at that meeting. Unfortunately, I wish it was not the same night.
And I'll be at
I like
Concord
those.
Watershed.
Well, I'll share your absences, all three
Please.
of you.
Thank you.
Yep, I will. Okay, nothing more for the good of the order, meeting adjourned.